The Michigan State Spartans just took a major step forward. Let's talk about it. My name is Aaron with my buddy Paul. We are the Big Ten guys on the daily Big Ten content, news, rumors, analysis, whatever the heck it is, Big Ten. We're talking about it right here. So all you got to do, tap the subscribe button, tap that notification bell, and absolutely pound that like button because guess what, guys? Week 1 is almost upon us. Western Michigan, those Broncos are going down. So don't miss out. I was talking about the Spartans and other Big Ten teams. Specifically today, we are going to be diving into the offense in a specific positional group that is going to be worlds better than last year. Specifically, we look at the offense, though, last year in 2024, and they almost squeaked their way into a bowl game, this team. Ended up going 5-7. There was games they should have won. They didn't win. It was frustrating. We just want to go bowling. That's all we want to do. Listen, let's progress. Let's make a postseason game, and then let's continue to progress from there. But that's beside the point. Last year, passing offense, they ranked 81st of 134 teams with 213 passing yards a game. And then rushing, they ranked 114th, averaging 110 yards per game. And then scoring, even worse. You're like, Aaron, why do you got to say this? Listen, I'm a Michigan State fan too. It doesn't make me feel good saying this, but again, it's a new year. Last year ranked 126th, not much farther above Northwestern, but with 17.5 points average a game. Now, looking at the team, looking at the depth chart right now, especially with Aiden Childs being his junior year, last year kind of figuring out the system. Yes, made a lot of kind of knucklehead mistakes, but moving on from that, we know he has the ability at his best. Holy cow, the man can play football. So if he can come in and grow a lot from last year, man, there's a ton of potential, especially with a revamped offensive line. A lot of transfers coming in, helping him bolster that line. We have Tao Tolliver coming in from Sacramento State. That should help this rushing attack, though it's frustrating we don't have Carter or Lynch Adams anymore, but hopefully he should help out a lot. And then we look at the receivers, who you could argue are one of the best positional groups on this team. And you have Kelly, that just transferred in from Minnesota State, who Coach Smith has already said he's going to be the number 2 guy. And we already know the number 1 guy is Marsh, which is, a wide receiver last year that was heavily overshadowed by other freshman wide receivers in college football, names being Jeremiah Smith and Ryan Williams. But one receiver we have yet to talk about on this show, and that we need to talk a lot more about, is Krishan McCray. Now, McCray coming from Kent State. If you didn't know, Kent State did not win a single game last year. Goose egg, awful. No, they talk about Maction. No Maction for Kent State. And McCray was the one shining beam of hope on this Golden Flash team. And now he said, I'm leaving for greener pastures. Literally, he went to the green and white of Michigan State, and he is going to shine on this team. I guarantee it. Especially with, now even being a number 3 look on this offense, and you have Velling too at tight end, we got to add in there. But these wide receivers significant, pose a much bigger threat than what we had last year. Sure, we had Foster last year, and he was a great wide receiver. But again, you have Nick Marsh, who already has a year under his belt and did phenomenal. And this literally, the sky, he has no ceiling. The man is incredible. And then you have 2 people that have proven themselves at other Division I schools and have that experience. And then Aiden Childs, if he can really get into his own rhythm, this offense can be dangerous. But specifically on McCray, the reason I think a lot of people maybe overshadowed or looked past him in the transfer portal, one, Kent State, a lot of people are like, not too good. But McCray plays a lot like, and reminds me a lot like, Aaron Burbridge. If you remember him, he was really good east and west as well, could make acrobatic catches. When he got into, when he was a vertical threat, he caught the ball and you weren't going to catch him. McCray is very, very similar. And so you look at McCray, Kelly, and Marsh, and the great thing about these 3 is they're all big vertical threats. Now, when I say big, I'm not saying like McCray's 5'10". I'm not saying he's big in stature, but what I'm saying is he has the ability to separate, and they can be a big vertical threat. We know Aiden Childs has the arm, and there was times last year, and I don't want to bring up the Boston College game because that kills me, that he tried to force one in there, and it was not ideal. But that's beside the point. We're moving on from that. But if Childs can get that dialed in, this offense can be great. It truly can be. And I think a lot of people are sleeping on the Spartans just because, again, what's it sexier to talk about? You know, Michigan and Bryce Underwood, Ohio State just coming off a national championship and reloading. Penn State brings back a ton of people. Nebraska, Dylan Raiola, a lot of people want to believe in them and their team and their schedule that is somewhat easy for them. But the Michigan State Spartans, and I'm not just saying this because I'm a biased fan, but under a great coach like Jonathan Smith and bringing in some great transfers and having some experience come back, this offense, I'm telling you, has to be better. There's no way it's worse than it was last year. The stats I brought in last time, as I said, 81st in passing yards, 114th in rushing yards, and then 126th in scoring. There's no way they do worse than that. So the only way forward we have, or the only way we can go is forward, is taking that step forward. And bringing in these guys like Kelly, McCray, is only going to help bolster this offense. And obviously, Tolliver should be big as well. So comment below. Tell me what you think about Christian McCray. What do you see his outlook for the Spartans this year? I'm very high on him, just like I'm high on Kelly. Obviously, very high on Marsh. But I think this receiving core is going to help Childs out a lot. If Childs, as I said earlier, if he can dial in his game, limit the mistakes, this offense can be dangerous. Very, very dangerous. And again, we look at Aiden Childs. I think a lot of people are overlooking him too, just because, again, you have Bryce Underwood, the #1 recruit in the country, coming in, starting as a true freshman. You could even say Dante Moore, who's playing for Oregon, who's had some time under his belt as a backup, but a big-time recruit that's going to be playing at Oregon. As well, Nico at UCLA. You have Dylan Raiola. You have Drew Aller. You have a bunch of big name people, and a lot of people are just like Aiden Childs. So, and I want him to sleep on him all day, baby. Sleep on him all day. I have no issue with that. But comment below of the newcomers. Who are you most excited to watch? Is it Kelly? Is it McCray? Is it Tolliver? What is your thought? I would love to hear from you. But again, Christian McCray, I think he has a ton of potential in this offense, as well as Kelly. And again, Marsh, listen, I'm not opposed to saying he has the potential to be first team All Big Ten or, even on an All-American team. That's how good he is and the potential he has. So comment below. Tell me what you think. Incoming transfers, who are you most excited to see, or just new players in general? So comment below. Now, as well, what I have on here is, jumping into the stats just from last year. So Marsh, Foster, Velling, that three biggest receiving players right there, the most receiving production. I expect, again, to see that higher. If you look at Aiden Childs, just under 2,500 yards passing, just under 60% completion percentage. I expect this to be a lot better year for him. So don't sleep on him. I know you're not. And we look at the schedule again. First game Friday, August 29th against Western Michigan. We look at Vegas odds real quick. DraftKings, this is FanDuel. You have Michigan State by 19.5. So almost just under 3 touchdowns. Western Michigan does not return literally anyone. I believe on offense they returned 2 players. On defense they returned 3. Last year they were 6-7, losing to South Alabama in the Salute to Veterans Bowl. So again, I think Western is going to be bad. I understand this spread right here. The money line numbers as well makes total sense to me. But the question is Michigan State going to be able to put up, that's a lot of points. So in my mind, you're This right here is saying like, hey, Michigan State's going to have obviously almost 3 touchdowns. They're going to blow them out. But over under 49.5, I think Vegas maybe is saying like, hey, Michigan State's offense has a ton of potential here, especially against a bad Western Michigan team. So what do you guys think? Do you think these odds, this spread, the money line, the total over under 49.5, do you think these are realistic? Or are you more a glass half empty type person that you're like, hey, listen, no, I don't know. I've watched Michigan State for decades and I just don't see it yet. So what do you think? Comment below. Would love to hear from you. Again, I have a lot of hope in the Spartans this year. I think they have a ton of potential, though I will jump into their schedule just one more second. It is tough. I'm not going to tell you it's easy, but I think the first 3 games, they should be 3-0 going into the Coliseum in Southern Cal. In Southern Cal, Nebraska are going to be tough. Nico, India. There's a tough stretch between South Carolina, literally all the way to the end of the year. It's not. It's a gauntlet. It's a gauntlet. I would tell you it's one of the harder. It's one of the harder schedules, Big Ten schedules there is, just because there's a lot of potential in a lot of those teams like Nebraska, Indiana. A lot of people say that it's possible they're better than last year. Even a lot of people, Minnesota technically receiving votes in the coaches poll. Iowa has a new quarterback from South Dakota State, Gronowski. That's really good. And then you have a lot of people projecting Penn State to win the national championship. So we will see. We will see. But luckily, the Michigan game and that Penn State game are both home, and those should be some tough games. But I'm never going to say never. Again, I expect this Michigan State team to take a major step forward from last year, what they had last year offensively. So tell me what you think. Comment below. Again, on the way out, don't miss that subscribe button. Hit it. Hit the like button. We'll talk later. Peace.